Okay, good, Rosie.
There you go. Good.
Now, what about petting her and stuff?
I would hold off on that
Okay.
until she's more comfortable with you being around her and her food first, because moving your hand anywhere else on her body could, accidentally trigger an overreaction.
Okay.
So it's important to make sure that she's comfortable with you being around her and sharing her food with you first, and then slowly start petting her. Or what I would do is I would hold the food bowl with me the whole time and just pet her, get her used to that too, without even the option of her kind of claiming it, because you're still holding on to it too, and then giving her a break. So giving her some kibble, pulling back, and then continuing to pet her, and then give her back the kibble again.
Okay.
A lot of just that back and forth and getting her used to sharing and being around you and resources, right? So here, good girl. Hi. Yes. Wait. Good girl. Sit. Right?
Yeah.
So, right?
Sit.
So when she's really all focused on the food, that's usually when you're gonna have more of those troubles, right? So I need her, good girl, just focus on me. Yes, there you go. And then she gets rewarded again. Good girl. And then we add in some pets. Okay. And we break. Wait. Yes. Rosie. Yes, good girl. There you go. Good girl. Right? So that way you're transitioning into it instead of her already having something and claiming it, and then you're coming into that space, because that's too hard right now, right? So this way you kind of go from here, letting her get used to being around, you being around her when she's enjoying something nice, and then going in and out, and then leaving it and letting go. And then what I would do from this point is then leave the bowl and then walk away and then come back, right?
Okay.
And then you just increase the time that you're away, and when you do come back, you just leave a treat or something too if she's still enjoying something. And then if, like I said right here, like if that was the rawhide or something, closing the distance, and then when she pays attention to, yes, good girl, this way, pulling her away from it for a treat, and then coming back to it together, and then you controlling the resource.
Okay.
Okay. Good girl. Oh yes. Are you a good girl? Are you a good girl? Huh? Like I said, it's one of those things that might be easier said than done. Hopefully I got a lot of it on recording for you in case you need to look back as a reference.
Oh, good girl.
Very good. Perfect. But yeah, definitely things to avoid would be, making it into a hostile situation or escalating it even worse, because that could definitely trigger her to go the wrong way. Or if you're going to be doing it that way, you're going to have to do it that way with like a lot of assertiveness and over dominance until, like I said, she respects you and gives up and doesn't want to fight you, right? And
because I know that there's going to be a time I really have to get something out of her mouth, whether it's a drop, she drops it or something like that. But if she gets something she really shouldn't have, like a pill or something, I need to be able to.
And that's where you train the drop it command, right? Giving her something to put in her mouth, and then when she releases it, like a ball or a stick, say good drop, and then the treat. So
right, and we've been working on that, and it works great. Like if she picks up a rock or a stick, but if it's something like a piece of food, it's not happening yet. So I know I have to work up to that.
Exactly. That's all. And when you're working up to it, remember that the value of exchange. So if she has like that piece of bully stick, maybe have a slightly bigger piece when you're asking her to drop it, right? And that's just one of those things too. It's it's gonna happen, but you really can control the environment as much as you can. Be as preemptive when you're out walking downtown, so she doesn't just wander and pick up a chicken bone. A lot of these issues we can get a really good head start on by being preemptive and like seeing the chicken bone and seeing her go towards it. Be like, no, Rosie, this way, right? at least giving her that opportunity, and then we're a little more ready when she doesn't listen or continues pulling or just picks it up, right? And then we're working on drop it. And then if that doesn't work, then like almost a forceful exchange is going to happen. But I would always recommend that you do everything that you can to keep your hands out of their mouth,
Right.
and that area in general, just for safety's sake.
Right.
Yeah, it's good girl. Hi. What do you think, huh?
Plus, she's less likely to think that she's losing something versus, and maybe open to dropping the things she shouldn't really have. But it's, so.
And that's the thing too, is just getting that recall practice in early, and like enough so that she is almost going to like immediately tear herself away from whatever it was that she was interested in when you ask her to leave it, right? Right now we're just working on the basic training and the positive reinforcement of it. Eventually, you might need some sort of negative repercussion to give her something else, like another reason to actually leave it too, outside of the positive, right? Because if she doesn't leave it and she continues focusing, that's when you would give a correction, and then when she redirects off that, be like, yes, good girl. So then you're dealing with both a positive and a negative consequence, and especially for training, that's really important, like recall or leave it or drop it or things like that. You'll want both sides if she's not doing well on just one. Yeah.
Part of it.
Yeah. It's just like with kids, you want to eventually have something negative to do. If they don't come down for dinner and you count to 3, you're gonna have to turn off the power, or you're gonna have to ground them. So that way, when you start counting, they're like, well, I can come down and eat, the dinner will be good, or I can continue to ignore her, and then I'll have this negative consequence, right? And then it plays in off of, more of that decision making that you're going to help to influence, right? Because we want them to make the right choice. Sometimes we have to really help them make the right choice, right?
So what would be a negative correction?
Well, either just like a harsh or a sudden leash correction, or like depending on how sensitive pups are, like she's really sensitive to sound, a tone, or an ultrasonic, anything that they don't like that is very sudden that you can control is going to be considered negative, right? It doesn't have to be a shock or anything like that. It just has to be something that she doesn't like, or that startles her, gets her out of that mindset, and then you can take advantage of refocusing her and then giving her that option again, right? Because now that she's learned that if she doesn't listen to you,
Rosie,
good girl, right? Now she learns that if she doesn't listen to you, this is going to happen. If she listens to you, this is going to happen. And it just depends on the pup. Most of the time it doesn't have to be very good. Most of the time it doesn't have to be very extreme, right?
Right.
Now this time when you ask her to leave it, go ahead and pick it up, walk around, and then when she wants it again, have her do something like a basic sit and then give it back to her. So that way it'll show her that she not only just gets that treat, but she gets whatever it was that you are asking to leave it back. Good. There you go.
Silly girl. Does it sit? No. Well, I guess that's a sit. Good girl.
That works. Good girl, right? We just want her to feel like almost rewarded for leaving those high value items. And the returning it part, that part's going to be optional on your end, especially if it's like a pill bottle or something.
Right.
But the initial part and everything else is still the same. Oh, she's wrapped around herself. But the initial part and everything is still the same, right? Once that apprehension's gone, it'll be easy for you to kind of take whatever, and then it'll be optional on your part whether to give it back or not, right? Or if it was something inappropriate, what I would do then on that part is actually use that. So I would have the pill bottle, I would have her on a leash, but I would have a pill bottle or your purse or the TV remote or whatever on the floor, and then I would pay attention to her when she's going towards it, right? See if you can get her to leave it and redirect to you without using the leash first, right? And having the leash there as a boundary, so that way she can't reach it all the way. But if she starts going too far towards it, be like, Rosie, leave it, and then come back, right? And then giving her a reward. And then whenever she goes back to that item, test her, do it again and again until she starts going towards it, and then she stops on her own and comes back. Right, and that's how you'll start knowing that she's understood that, oh, I can't have that item, right? And then if she, like I said, if she ignores the leave it, then you'll have the leash. Be like, nah, no, leave it, and then redirecting back. Yes, good girl. Right? So that way she doesn't learn to also, you'll want the leash because you don't want her to just learn to ignore you and you don't have the leash on and she just goes and picks it up anyways. Right. So that in itself is the negative consequence, right? Just being withheld from whatever she wanted. That's still considered negative.
Okay.
Good girl. Hi. Rosie. Good girl. Rosie. Yes. Come. Rosie. Good girl. Hi, how you doing? You want to say hi? We're trying to get her used to not barking at strangers. Rosie. Good girl. With me? Good. Good. Go say hi. There you go. Good girl. There you go. Good. Good girl. Good down. Oh, good down. Good. Down. She was doing good. There we go.
She's beautiful.
Hey, you down. No.
You get it.
Thank you. How old is she again?
4 months.
4 months. Yeah. Do you guys have pups too? Oh.
I remember that.
Past those times, huh? Rosie. Yes, good girl. Come on. Thank you. Okay. All right. So a couple different things that we were doing there to help, right? Kind of like with her, as soon as she starts barking, just redirecting her with the leash, redirecting her focus back onto me, closing that gap. So then as soon as we're there and she can meet them, she's not barking, right? But making sure that whenever she does focus on them and she starts barking, to give her that correction, like I said, it's just a slight tug on the leash to help get her to refocus back onto me so she would stop. But every time that she starts again, be like, nah, no. Right? And then as soon as she's quiet and she calms down, we keep going, or as soon as she refocuses on me, we keep going. And then getting her to that point where she learns through practice that every time she barks at somebody, you're gonna correct her. But if she stays quiet, you guys can quietly go and walk up to meet people and they'll give her pets and treats and everything else. So it's just that initial apprehension that you have to work through. And it's just about disrupting the behavior. That's all. I didn't have to really punish her or anything. I didn't have to, I told her no, that's all. But I told her no when she started to bark. That's really important. As soon as it happens, that's when you want to make that connection. And then as soon as she's nice and calm, that's when you're going to need to close the gap.
I like that, huh?
It's all yours.
She's like teething badly.
Oh, that would be perfect though.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free. Like I said, it'll be good for you guys to have something else to practice with that's a little bit longer.
Oh, we have long rawhides. It's just when it gets down
Right.
to this part where it's just about her mouth. Hi, honey.
What I used before for that, I'll see if I can find the video and I'll share it with you and Aileen. But it's a bully stick holder, but it's actually attached to a leash, which would be perfect too, right? Now you don't want to just be taking it, but it'll give you that safeguard when you're practicing. Yeah, it wasn't too expensive. Um, but no, that was a really good device to help me when I was working with a pup with a similar situation.
We were just kind of really surprised, being that she's a golden.
Yeah.
You know that, and people and the dog's initial meet, she's a little anxious about. So we were surprised about that too. But once she gets over that, she's great.
Yeah. And it's just that, like, probably like you said, it's just that she hasn't met a lot of people growing up yet, you know?
And she's only 4 months.
Yeah. And you can offset
So.
that because it wasn't too extreme of a reaction, and it was pretty easily overcome.
Right.
So a lot of it is just getting her out, you know, either meeting new friends or family or just out in public and teaching her that people are just treat dispensers and then she won't be apprehensive of them.
Yeah.
But that's almost like a numbers game, and the more apprehensive she is naturally, the higher your number is going to need to be to offset that. You know, we don't know yet because she's still so young and under socialized that we don't know if that's just her personality, right, to be a
Right.
little bit timid or a little shy at
Or
first, or if she just needs more experience. The only way to find out is to give her that experience, and that'll also help to kind of offset that gauge a little bit. Like a lot of clients that I have, they're with German Shepherds, you have to over crank the socializing because they're naturally more aloof of strangers. Right? What you would think, the opposite with like a golden is, but not everybody reads the encyclopedia of what their breed is supposed to be like. They're all individuals, and so we just want to recognize that it's something that we want to work on, and then actually tentatively work on it, especially when she's younger and small and cute. Way easier, right?
Yes.
Like I have the same problem, but with like pitties, it's almost impossible, right? Because now nobody wants to meet them when they're acting like that, right? She has everything kind of still going for her, luckily.
Yeah.
But breed-wise too, and everything, the cuter, more naturally friendly breeds, they get a little bit of a leeway, a little bit of a cushion on that, but that cushion will very quickly disappear as she gets bigger, and then she sees somebody walking next to you or towards you and she starts barking.
Right.
That cushion is then again gone.
Yeah, people don't want to meet.
No. Even if it's because she's not sure.
Right.
That's when you're gonna have to really be like a really big advocate for her, right? Because we know what she's like, but somebody new, or especially with like kids and something like that, they're gonna be more apprehensive now too because she's being apprehensive.
Right.
Oh, good girl. Hi. Yes, we're talking about you. Yes, we're talking about you. You're being a good girl. Just being a good girl. And then you can also see there when we were meeting her, she started to jump up, and then immediately kind of correcting her with the leash back down and just doing it fast enough so that way you'd want it even sooner, right? As soon as her paws leave the ground, no, right? So that way she learns what she's even about to do is wrong. Because especially when it comes to jumping on people, 90% of that is preemptive, right? Because as soon as they kind of get off of the ground, you're working on getting off of them now, or them getting off of the person. Whereas most people actually really want them to work on not jumping up on the person in the first place. So that's where a lot of people kind of not make the mistake, but they put too much effort in the wrong spot.
Okay.
Because what I was saying, like 90% of the effort should be preemptive, but I find that like that 10% is where most people put 90% of the effort is after they jump. They're like, no, bad, down, off, pushing them and everything. Whereas you want them almost on approach to already,
It's wrong.
Yeah. It's a slightly different mindset, but if you take that into consideration, it's way better to do something early and tell her, no, don't jump, and then she didn't jump, and then her jump and then tell her, no, don't jump.
Okay.
Oh no, it's starting to rain. Do you need to close your window?
Yeah, that's all right. Unless it really starts pouring.
I know, right? I was like,
And if it starts pouring, I won't. All right, I'm good.
Oh, where's Mom going, huh? Good girl, that was good. And sometimes too, especially when it comes to food possessiveness or guarding things, just finding something else that they might be interested in, like going out the door, you know, getting a ball, playing with the other pup, you know, getting something that's even more enticing that doesn't have to just mean to be food.
Okay.
Right. Oh, I'm gonna have to pause the recording. Do you have any questions for the for the video before I have to turn this thing off?
Not for that part of it. The other thing I was telling you about is that like the left turns and her just whenever you know,
Okay.
whenever I treat her, she comes around front. And I'd rather her be over here, and I can't seem to get her to do that.
No problem. All right, we'll have to do that off video.